you, Lord.
So what happens when life gives you both the unexpected and unwanted? When everything that was normal yesterday becomes like a distant dream? How do you handle it? Baby Ethan's Getting Better Every Day gives you a glimpse inside the life of a family that receives an unfavorable medical diagnosis of its newest family member. In just one day, every normal routine and ritual gets overturned with efforts in getting baby Ethan the care needed for his fight for life. This framework of faith and small part of the Yon family's journey will give you the highs, the lows, and the real of life as they face the 3-day death sentence of their child, Ethan, and the days that follow. To get your copy in paperback or to download the Kindle version, visit Amazon.com and search for Baby Ethan's Getting Better Every Day. This book by Pastor Eddie L. Yon is sure to encourage and inspire you. Baby Ethan's Getting Better Every Day. Pick up your copy today.
Hey, what's up, people? It's your man, Pastor Eddie L. Yon, Restore Glory Christian Center, Monticello, Florida, where we're back for week 2 with Robert and Jerilyn Ward. Last week, we started with an intro to who they are, their ministries, an introduction to the book, and also their story. Well, guess what? It's week 2, and we're going to dive into male insecurities and the pitfall of it, along with the benefits and blessings of premarital guidance and counseling. And yes, we're going to touch on those family secrets. We all got them. How do we deal with them? So we're going to touch on those this week. So listen, buckle up, enjoy the ride. We're here. Hey, glad you're here. And sure you're going to be blessed. Let's get to it.
Wow. Well, yeah. And it's funny when you were saying you didn't want to go. I said, so there's a Nineveh, Florida.
Come on now. Come on.
I didn't want to go, but you went and God, and I'm sure God proved himself faithful.
Yes, sir.
That's what he does. So through that whole transition, because we're going to get into the book now, and I tell you, this book has been more than a blessing to me. There are so many nuggets in it, and things I lay in line. I want to share. I say, you know what? I can share the whole book because I'm going line by line through the whole book. You just got to get the book, and after this, I am sure you're going to get this book. So let's talk about the crux of the book, and kind of, I'm going to give you some of your words back to you. Okay. How did the book happen, and what happened to make the book, and all those things?
First thing that happened is, of course, you get this devastating report, from the doctor. Mm-hmm. You have HIV. And
now repeat that again. So repeat that again because they might have missed that.
Okay.
A little bit louder.
You get this devastating report from the doctor after they've taken your blood, and they tell you that you have HIV. So that's where the story starts. We get that report, and that was a journey even getting to that, which we're in the series, because for better and for worse is the first in the series. The next part of the series is in sickness and health.
Okay.
The next one is for rich or for poor.
All
so
right,
we'll talk in detail in sickness and health about that journey, but that's where it started, getting that report from the doctor. And then living through it, now your whole life, the way you navigate has changed. Yeah. It's like most people, their life turns upside down. Maybe it's not an HIV diagnosis. Maybe it's a foreclosure and you got to get out your house. Maybe you lost a job. Now you got to find another one. Whatever it is that you feel like is turning your life upside down, that's what started this story. And when you're in it, it's sometimes it's really murky. You can't see. You don't know which direction you're going. Yeah. And God is so faithful that he will put people in your path, whether you're in church, whether you're outside, it doesn't matter. Those that are hearing him. And a lady in church ministered to us, and she said to us, you're going to write a book about this. And that was in 2007.
Okay.
And then we didn't get to start. We started writing a little bit, but we didn't know what we were doing. And then the Lord connected me with someone on my job that was a person who self-published herself.
Gotcha.
And in 2011 is when we got serious about it. Okay. And even as we got serious, reliving the things that we were writing was really challenging because you would write and all your emotions and all your thoughts and all your feelings came rushing back.
Yeah.
And so we would have to put it down for a little bit. And then, one or the other would get annoyed with the other and poke me. You ain't wrote nothing today. You ain't wrote nothing today. When was the last time you picked it up? Right. So it was back and forth. And then, finally we were able to just sit down and get it written and then get it to the publisher and get it published.
And that was the fascinating aspect about the book, because I try to wonder, now, did they go back in memory to say, because you guys came from different perspectives. So one time Robert would talk about it, and then I'm cheering for Robert, don't do that, man, don't do that, no, man, why you doing that? And then here comes Jerilyn, and then you come from your perspective, and I thought that, so did they write this as they were going, or did they go back and write it from memory? So that was part of your journaling process.
Yes.
You journaled the book as you went through it. Oh, wow.
So we wanted it to be a conversation.
Yeah.
Just like we're having right now. We wanted the book to be a conversation. I didn't want to just do the whole talking. I said, Jerilyn, because there are a lot of things I didn't remember. Because I had contracted bacterial meningitis. So that caused my memory loss.
Right.
So I needed her to remember parts that I was missing. So she would say, Robert, you gotta add. I said, well, why don't you write that part?
Yeah.
I write a little bit, then you come in and you write with it, and that's how it was all gone.
I think it was cool. I think it was cool
It
how
was.
that happened.
It was very cool, and I'm gonna jump ahead because in that part, that was a hot mess in progress. I
Yes.
don't know how you survived going to work and them dragging you to the car and then getting to the hospital,
Yes.
because that really began the whole crux of the discovery.
Yes.
Because you didn't know until that part, and then that led on the discovery, and then you found, oh my God, I got HIV.
Yes.
And I passed it along to my wife.
Yes.
So let's go back to the very beginning of the marriage, because you set up a great foundation regarding the fantasy aspect. I love what you shared about the fantasy. I'm going to read what you wrote. You said, when I was watching the married couples as a young woman, I wanted it so badly. I read the scriptures in Genesis and thought, oh, Lord, I can do this. I just want to be married. But the true translation is, oh, Lord, I just want me a man.
It is the truth. I mean, if we're honest, honest as women, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You just want you a man.
Yeah.
And sometimes wanting something, you don't know what all is coming with that package.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're not ready for what's there. And sometimes in the midst of it, you got to get ready.
Yeah.
I mean, after you say I do, some people have to get ready for everything that's coming, because, you're in the phase of this beautiful wedding, and you're planning, it's lovely, 10 bridesmaids, grooms, you just wrapped up in that. But then when you say I do, and you come back from the honeymoon, and the rubber is hitting the road, and now it's time.
And you call that in the book Real Life 101 or something of that nature. Like, look,
Real
I got
life.
indoctrinated into real life because the fantasy somewhat ended, and then you really get this diagnosis that, like, okay, it really abrupts your fantasy.
Yes,
I mean,
it
really
does.
just knocks that down. But I also like when you were talking about in the book, and this is something good those young ladies and even young men know, is you knew what you wanted.
Yes.
And you said, I went back to a list. So talk to me about this. You didn't talk about the list in the book.
Talk about
that list, because God must have filled that list. We need to know this about this list thing.
That's good. Okay, so a lot of us, when we were coming up, we all did the youth thing. We did these youth conferences, and this particular youth conference that I went to, they were talking to the young people about being very, very intentional, which is a word we use now, but they didn't use that then, but that's what they were talking about. When you start asking the Lord for a mate, what is it that you want in a mate? What are you looking for? We just, we go from I want a man to what do I want in a man? What am I looking for? And then they took it a step further. You can make this list about what you're looking for in your mate, but you need to be complementary or match, your
evenly yoked.
Yes, match his weakness with your strength, or your weakness with his strength. So how are you going to be complementary? And so I had this list. I still have it. It's about 20-something things on it. I still have it. I actually put it in a protective sleeve so that the paper won't go disintegrate. But that's where the list came from. In this youth conference, they were challenging us to really say to the Lord, this is what I'm looking for. And Robert fit the bill.
All right now.
He didn't think he did after he looked at it. There was a couple of things he didn't think,
now,
but I did.
And I'm going to pick on Robert because he a bruh. Only thing he was thinking, she got to be fine. That's all I need.
It was. Well, not really. Because at the time, the pastors we were serving under were trying to set me up with somebody else.
Oh.
While I was focused on her. So they were both with the same size, pretty much the same
build,
the same personality, everything. But my focus was on Jerilyn because when I pulled out from taking her home that night and I pulled her out of that driveway, I asked the Lord, that's my wife, huh? And I heard the Spirit, yes, that's your wife.
Wow.
We had not talked about anything or anything.
Wow.
So I knew then, so it was it was something else.
So then after that, the book transitions from what you want to what you are, because you really go into that regarding, okay, now I need to know what I am. And you talk a few things about, being raised without a father.
Yes.
And how that kind of affected you and those things of that nature. So you want to share, and I know right now we may be ministering to those young women, but it may be young men too, about knowing who you are, what you are, knowing your shortcomings.
Yes.
Tell me about that for a second.
Yeah, not having a father in the household really did affect me a lot because I didn't learn how to interact with a man. I just heard my mother, how she talked to my brothers, and there's a difference. I cannot talk to my husband like I heard my mother talk to my brothers, because that's not going to work, because it was pick up your socks, do this. That's not how that's going to go down in a relationship, because when you get married, your husband becomes your covering, and it's a working together, but he's the lead. And in my household, all I learned about was being the leader.
Because you were a strong woman, and then to go from strong and single to submissive.
Yes.
And you guys talk about that too, how basically, you got two people coming together to be one flesh, and you've been two people your whole life.
Yes.
And now that transition has to happen, and that takes a lot of adjusting.
A lot of unraveling of what, not only what you think, but the fantasy of what it's going to be when you get married. I mean, it just unravels, and you have to have a strong want to and a desire to stay with that, because for some people, as that starts to unravel, that's a mental thing where you may decide, I don't want to bother with this.
Yeah.
I mean, so you got to have a decision that, yes, not just your love, but your commitment to this is greater than what you're experiencing. And so I made those decisions. I was making them, I felt like, in the early stages of the marriage, almost daily, I felt like I was making that decision. No, this is what I want. This is what I want to do. Yes, all these things on the list, as compared to what I'm seeing now are different. And not having a father and learning how to allow him to discipline the children, allow him to make the decision, because I was the oldest of 5, a pseudo-parent. I mean, we got a lot of young ladies and young men who become a pseudo-parent in their house, where they don't always have to be the oldest. Sometimes a pseudo-parent is the middle. Sometimes it's the baby child that becomes that parent, and they're looking after the children and the parent, And so I had to learn how to relinquish so many different things, and I'm not going to say I've arrived in that area. There's still some times where, I want to take control, and my husband, I'm not one of your students, So not having a father, and I thank God for other wise women. I know that sometimes in this new generation that sometimes gets, pushed away, but having other women around me to say things to me. Initially, you know, yes, you're gonna have a little bit of attitude because they're telling you, you know, who she thinks she is. But when you sit down and you really think about what they're telling you, that's what helped me to unravel the wrong thought processes and to really break down the fantasy and come into real life of what it means to live.
And Robert, I want to go to you because one thing the book doesn't mention, it doesn't really go deep into your family like background. Jerilyn talks about, you know, she raising up, growing up as a strong woman. And when you talk about the meningitis, your family came there, your dad's there, so that I would have to assume a close knit relationship with your father. No, okay, so that but it doesn't really talk too much about that. So I want to ask from your perspective, with this strong woman, you inherit this strong woman from the Lord, right? So how did you transition having this strong, independent woman to going to having some of a balanced Christian marriage? How do you do that?
It was at first. I think I had my Superman cape on because of the things that she had been going through with her family, with her mother. I felt like I needed to rescue her, and then when we got married and we started having children, even before. I started noticing, you know, this bill needs to be paid. I got this. This needs to be done. I got this. Grocery needs to be. I got this. And then when the children came, she wasn't used to a male voice in the house. So when I would, based on my son, those things like, well, Robert, you don't have to yell, but I'm not yelling. That's my voice. You know, that's just my voice.
Okay.
Did your dad yell?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. That well, he didn't yell as much as he whistled, and I hated it. I despised it.
Your dad whistled?
He would call for us by whistling.
Oh wow!
We're down the street playing basketball, and he wouldn't call; he would just whistle.
Okay.
And I was like, man, I'm not my dog, you know. So it took a minute, because there was sometimes I would get flashbacks of you know, my dad, you know, and I wanted a wife. And I think one of the things that where I messed up was that I said to Jerilyn before we got married was that I'm not my mother had 4 boys. Okay, she taught us how to clean, she taught us how to cook, she taught us how to wash dishes, she taught us how to keep house. I'm not really looking for that. I just need somebody there who will listen to me when I talk. And Jerilyn came from the household that she came from. And there was sometimes when I would hear her mother's voice more than I would hear her, because I knew who her mother. And it was so, and I did not want that. The things that she experienced when we first got married, because we didn't see anybody from her family until after Nicholas was born. That was 2 years later. Okay. And her mother never came to our wedding. Oh wow. And so that was hard. And I was trying to be as much as supportive as I can, because there was one point when I said, "Look, if we need to annul this, so you can be all right with your family, I'll do that, you know, and I'll wait." And she was like, "No, I'm not going to do that." So we decided then that we were not, whatever we're going through, we were not going to use the D word.
Okay.
Divorce.
Divorce was not an option.
It was not an option. So I had to learn. I think I tried not to be my father so much till I wasn't being myself.
So you got to be yourself, no matter what.
You got to be yourself.
Because yourself is going to come out, and that was a nugget that you unloaded in the book as well, about how when we get comfortable with people, the real us it does come out.
Yes.
You know, I mean, and it's great because, when we first dating, oh, you're wonderful and fine, you smell good, your breath never stank. I mean, all this great stuff.
Right.
But as soon as you start getting comfortable with this person, the real person finally comes out.
The real person finally comes out. I said this now when I talk to couples. We come into marriage with a box. This is how she's going to be. This is everything that my expectations are going to be. That's how everything he's going to be. And we never allow that person to be who they are because we have that box, that fantasy of who they're supposed to be. So all this time, I'm trying to make her who I have in this box, and I never really learned.
I'm trying to make him what I think a man is supposed to be.
And I never really learned who Jerilyn really
she
is.
Or who he is.
And through time, and I've learned this too, even with my wife, is that the beautiful thing is if you let them be who they are,
Yes.
you discover a whole lot
Brother,
more.
come on.
You discover this beautiful person you
Yes.
have, and you discover the gifts and talents and even the weaknesses, but that's okay because the covenant, you become their strength.
That's all I'm saying.
And so it's not that this person is perfect. And Jerilyn, you did have me laughing about this because with your own insecurities, you got mad at him because he wasn't going to have no ring at your engagement party.
Oh,
But that was your insecurity.
yes.
And you
It's
talk
true.
about, we can't tell him everything about the book. Y'all got to buy the book.
Right.
I mean, I tell you the whole book. I'm trying not to, but there's just so much packed in there about
Yes.
relationships
Yes.
and how just our own insecurities.
Yes.
And now, Robert, that was one thing you really touched on great because, we as men, we have insecurities. We have tons of insecurities and we'll fall into traps because I want you to share on insecurities, just how overcoming them, the pitfalls of them, wherever the Lord leads you on sharing that.
One thing I realized, and I didn't realize that till after I got married, how insecure I was as a child. I was the largest of all my brothers. I was picked on because I was the biggest. I was 275 pounds when I was in 8th grade. 6 foot when I was in 8th grade. By the time I was in the 12th grade, I was 330 pounds, 6'2". And so I didn't get the clothes that my brothers got.
Gotcha.
Okay, my mom made my clothes, or I got my clothes from my granddaddy or my uncles. So I'm wearing overalls to school. I'm wearing my granddaddy's orthopedic shoes to school or whatever like that. So there was always this insecurity, this insecurity about my life. So when I got married, I figured, well, one of the things that happened to me is I got into pornography because of that insecurity.
Insecurity, yeah.
Okay, because I didn't feel like I was at any good to anybody. So I wasn't going to be pleasing to any woman. So the only way I can do that is through pornography. And the gratification came through that. And then so as it came on, so I figured once I married a spiritual woman who had the word, I wouldn't have to worry about that anymore.
About the insecurities.
That's a deception of the enemy.
Yeah.
Because if you're not delivered from that before you get married, you're going to bring that into your marriage. Which was in the book, you'll find that out about that also.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
Okay. So as you progress and as we get more and more involved in that, I still did not have anybody to talk to. And I can tell, and I'm gonna be as transparent as I can right now. I was able to release some things. I was able to release a lot of things last year. When I during April I had taken a fall and hit my head and concussion and turned into childhood migraine headaches, which turned into a TIA, which was a mini stroke, and all these things. And I could not function. And I'm saying, Lord, I can't function with my wife. I don't have the money coming in like I used to. I'm no good. I went into a depression. Now I called called my pastor friends, and they told me, about one of my pastor friends who was a counselor. I talked to him, and he called me 12 o'clock one night. My wife was in bed, and I cried so hard. Sounds came out of me that I had never even heard. And he said, "Have you ever had anybody to talk to?" I said, "I've never had anybody to talk to." That because as men we don't talk enough.
We don't talk.
So we to actually express the insecurities that we have, we don't express those things, and they come out in marriage.
Yeah.
And there's things that our wives may touch, and we get aggressive because that's something
Defensive.
It's
a defensive mode.
Yes, and if we're not careful, we'll get physical with it. And so thank God I never got physical with my wife. Okay, but I did go outside to get that release.
And that is what caused the HIV.
That's what caused the HIV.
So my insecurities, like I said, it opened you up, and you share on this. Like I said, y'all got to get the book because he talks about how those things open up. But Jerilyn, you said something so profound. I got to give you your words back here, Jerilyn. I really didn't understand the needs of a man, and especially not one with a broken spirit. That was profound. I was like, oh my God, that's gonna preach 12 weeks right there. Because so many women get broken men. and don't know how to fix them. And I say it this way: a lot of women are getting women, and they don't know how to make lemonade. Because
come on.
because you got this guy who's broken. I mean, from the playground to parenthood, and all these things are breaking him, and so now. And in our arrogance, men, we feel the same thing. Well, if I get I'll fix it. No, brother, you ain't got enough tools in that toolbox
no way.
to even work on that. But that's one thing that you said. I'm like, wow. So to better understand walking through that, and for better and for worst, that when I say this at the altar, it's forever. And you guys said the D word is off the table. We can't use that. So I got to walk through it with this man. And then so we have to ask ourselves, is this person is going to be I'm going to really walk through? Because y'all, you talking about worst, y'all hit worst.
Yeah.
I mean, you really hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
And I say we can tell you everything. Y'all just gotta
Gotta get the book.
you got to get the book, because I keep going on about it. So also as pastors, let's talk about premarital, because the downside of premarital today is you meet with your pastor at lunch, you tell him you want to get married, he find out what type of chicken you want, and y'all go ahead. Don't let else go. It don't go past that. I mean, it's one lunch, one meeting, and the benefits of premarital. How do you feel premarital would have really helped you or benefited?
Jesus.
Wow,
Hit that.
that's good. Yes, premarital would have really helped us. And I think the thing that really brought it home for us is because our youngest child just got married. And she went through premarital counseling. And we watched the steps of them going through.
Oh, my God.
We are members of Metropolitan Cathedral of Truth, and they have a marriage counseling setup, which is like, I don't know, 3 or 4, maybe 5 intensive class. They go through different things. And so watching my daughter and how her and our future son-in-law at the time would come and talk to us about what they went through after each session. They wanted our parents, we want to hear our parents. And just listening to how it set them in a place where they have a foundation of strength, where they're not having to fumble through figuring it out, and God sending people to talk to them, or hearing the right article, or seeing this movie, or whatever. There's different things that kind of God will use to kind of help shape you. But counseling will help you be solidified in it, meeting with them, because they're going to make you face things that you haven't. It's going to help dispel fantasy when you start talking about, when we get married, we do need to have a budget.
Yeah, it would be good.
I can't just take you out to eat every night after we get married, okay? We do need to talk about, who gonna wash the clothes and who gonna do. We do need to talk about
and
these
jobs
things
and careers. Whose
Yes.
career is more mobile than the other? Because
come on.
if she can't move, and you can move everywhere, where it seems like her career is gonna have to be the dominant one, because she can't move. And so I give kudos. So Pastor Kenneth and Helena Barrington, Metropolitan Cathedral of Truth, premarital counseling. Also here we do the same. I got 8 weeks. My favorite one is in-laws, outlaws, and influences.
Ooh.
Because we have to talk about who is the influential person on your
That is
spouse. I
very
mean, who's
good.
the person that's got their ear? Who do they run to?
Yes.
In-laws, outlaws, influences, and money, sex,
All of
children.
that.
Where you gonna worship?
Yes.
You got to figure all that out. And at the end of the day, premarital is not gonna fix everything, but the goal is to make sure everything can be talked about.
Yes.
Everything can be laid out on the table.
Open.
Everything.
Can be laid out on the table. So, y'all talk about family secrets in the book.
Oh, my God.
Family secrets.
Yeah, there was so many things that we were learning when we first got married about both of our sides of our family. Till we had just had enough, just us. Just us talking. Those late night conversations after you get married. You up till 2 and 3 in the morning, like, man, and we just decided, because like I said about him being a broken spirit, some of the things that he was sharing with me, I could see why things were broken, and me sharing what I walked through, he could see why there were things that caused me to be broken, because there were things we didn't know. And so we decided hard and fast, there will be no secrets.
Because one of the things that I did not realize, that the father that she always mentioned was not her father. So to experience her
learning,
confirming who her father really was, and seeing her mother treat her the way she did. First, it made me angry, and then her never seeing her father until she saw him in a coffin.
Oh wow. Oh.
But there's a book that she's gonna write.
All right, waiting on it.
Father, where are you? No. I don't know who I.
Daddy, where are you? I don't know who I am. Which you already talked about that in the. But that's the title of the book. Daddy, where are you? I don't know who I am, and that can be male or female.
Yes.
Because we have our sons that are struggling because they don't know who they are either, because they don't have their father in their life.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a series of nuggets and things that I learned about how to relate to the Heavenly Father without knowing what it's like to have a father.
Yeah.
And when we hear this, this is a phrase from hell. When I hear these young ladies say, "He don't need no dad, I can raise it for myself." That is not true. But I think one benefit to that child is this: when you are close enough to your father, you even see the shortcomings.
Yes.
And that can be a good thing, because you understand that, this is where I get it from. I mean, imagine a young man who never knows who his father is, don't ever see the shortcomings or the strengths.
Right.
Yes.
And then you turn around and then you're up there struggling through life trying to figure out, well, why is this? Why am I this way? Why is this? And then somebody, old Cletus, come up, boy, you remind me of your daddy. You do just like your dad. I mean, somebody can identify who you are and tell you who your daddy is by your mannerisms, by your look, by how you are. So it's important to know who our Father is. And thank God we got a divine Heavenly Father that can wipe away all them curses. Thank God.
And not keep it a secret.
Yeah.
Don't keep it a secret.
Right.
Let young people, let these children know where they come from.
Yeah.
If the person that's passed on, somebody in the family, because when you know somebody in your family, it kind of helps shape you with your identity, and you won't have to struggle.
Yeah.
And I'm going to write about that. I know there's going to be a lot of healing there, talking about that. And I'm grateful that there were opportunities where that secret can be unveiled so that I can learn.
She knew more about me. We went down in 2009 when my kids saw their grandfather for the first time. That's Daddy.
Oh wow!
Now I knew it.
Now you know where.
Now
I got it honest.
Jerilyn's like, now I know.
Now you know.
Because if you don't have that person there, you don't know how to identify, where did my husband get all this from? Because it just didn't
happen.
overnight.
Yeah.
So what you said about Jerilyn, she understanding and saying, okay, I know he's broken. How do I don't break him anymore, but bring healing? That's the thing. If you find a mate that can not try to fix that broken part, but to bring healing.
Well, people had to cut it short again, because guess what? I know you've been blessed by that episode dealing with the male insecurities, the benefits of premarital, and also family secrets. But part three. I tell you, part 3 is coming next week. That's right, March the 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. worship.restoreglory.org. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, please do so you can get notified when it premieres. 8 p.m. again, Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, March the 10th. We look forward to seeing you there. Again, we want you to get online live with us so you could chat, be blessed. We can talk about it, chop it up, and enjoy it all at the same time. worship.restoreglory.org, because in this final segment of our interview, we're going to be talking about listening to our spouse. And we're going to discuss the move that almost killed Robert Ward. That's right. I mean, it's going to get pretty interesting. And the last 2 things also, total commitment and the big one. I'll save that one for last. The big one, I'll save that for last. But again, I want you to get online. worship.restoreglory.org. Want to see your face in the place. Want to see you live. And hey, we'll do it. This your man, Pastor Eddie L. Yan. I am out of time, but I'm not out of word. I want to remind you, everywhere we go, let everybody know that the Word of God will restore your glory.
The Restoring Your Glory broadcast is recorded at Restored Glory Christian Center in the beautiful city of Monticello, Florida. We invite you to worship with us every Sunday at 10 o'clock a.m. or join us on Thursdays at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time for interactive Bible study. For more information, visit our website, restoredglory.org, or our social media pages. On behalf of Pastor Eddie L. Yan, First Lady Veronica Yan, and the Restored Glory family, thank you for joining us. Until next time, let the Word of God restore your glory.
All of this and more. Thank you for your promises, Lord. Your promises never fail. Thank you that you're God who restores your people. Oh, yes, you do. All of this